All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the webinar. We are about 30 seconds from starting. What I wanted to do real quick is just say hi. Just say hi because we're about to do something really fun. We're about to have a great time. And the thing that I love most about doing these kinds of trainings is ultimately I know they have an impact on people. I know they help. And I'll tell you my story in a few moments and why that matters to me. Ultimately, I came from a place that I was struggling big time. But what I learned that made a big difference on me, I'm sharing with you today. So I want you guys to have a good time. My goal here is to not so much blow your mind as to maybe open your eyes to a whole new way of looking at things and maybe even looking at yourself and helping you take that next step. With all the emails and the messages and the things that I get from people who tell me about all my trainings and how much they help them, they just fuel me. They make me want to do more. So the bottom line message that I wanted to share with that is when I first started trying to do something with my life, my fears really pushed me. But as I grew and I started to see the things that I was able to accomplish, my passions began to pull me. And that's what I'm going to try and help you get to today. So let's kind of get started. Welcome for those of you guys who joined. Let me just kind of let you in on one little cool thing about this webinar, that on your screen you'll see a little chat room, a chat box, if you will. What I'd like for you to do, just to make sure my audio is working good and we're sounding perfect, we're ready to rock and roll, is go ahead and type a message in that chat box and just say your name, where you are, and can you hear me okay? And then we'll jump right in. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a few moments because there is a little bit of a delay between when I speak and when you hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and get kind of quiet here for a second before we start. But I want to make sure that you guys got the chat room all figured out and you can hear me okay. You shouldn't be able to see me just yet. I've got a slides here that I'm going to share with you in just a few moments. But it looks like we've got about 10 or 11 people in here right now. So can you guys hear me? Let me just go ahead and send a quick message. Can everyone hear me? I'm going to go ahead and type my own message in that chat box. Oh, good. Nancy's on. Good. Everyone can hear me. So there's a little bit of a delay. Sometimes I have this weird fear like, oh my gosh, they can't hear me. All right. Nancy, hello from Nancy from Florida. Awesome. Carrie from Omaha. Love that. Omaha. I have to visit Nebraska. I've been wanting to visit Nebraska for a long time, and Angela keeps saying, why? I don't know. Just Nebraska's calling me, Carrie. So I'm coming out there eventually. All right, so welcome everybody thank you for jumping in. Looks like everyone's, at least a couple of people have figured it out. And so if 2 people can figure out the chat, then everybody can. What I'd like for you to do is during this presentation, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat room. And what I will do is when right around the middle or towards the end of the presentation, I'll come back and I'll check in on those questions and I'll see if I can answer them if I don't already cover them in the webinar. So Chris from Phoenix, hello Chris, good to see you. Kimberly from Apple Valley, California, awesome. I know Apple Valley very well. Right on, so that's great. Okay, so let's kind of get to it. I'm ready to start. It's already 12:05 my time Pacific, and let's jump in. So what I'm gonna do is, the screen's gonna get kind of funny for just a second. I'm literally going to share my desktop screen, and I'm going to do 2 things. It's going to get kind of weird. Look at that. Woo, 3 dimensions. It's going to get kind of weird for a second, but I'm going to turn on my PowerPoint, and what you should see is the PowerPoint slide at full screen. I'm going to come back to this weird shot for just a second just to check the chat room. So do me a favor. Let's see if I can go ahead and do it right now. Do me a favor. Let me know when I just put this up right here, how to stop struggling and start producing. You should see it full screen. So if you can see it, just comment in the chat, say I see it at full screen, and then I'll get started. Just want to confirm everyone's good. So let me go back and double check. Dawn says, looks good. Angie, hello, Angie, what's good? It's good to see you. All right, everyone says looks good. Okay, or at least one person said looks good. All right. Make sure, I'm just going to get one more person that says it looks good. You can see the big slide. I think we're good because I've done this a dozen times. I always just want to make sure. I've done webinars. Everyone says looks good. All right, good. I've done webinars for so long And there's every glitch that could possibly happen has ever happened to me. So here we go. Let's jump into it. How to stop struggling and start producing. This is going to be a very in-depth webinar. So get ready to take some notes and stuff, which I'll tell you about what to do in just a moment. But it's ultimately what I want to talk about is how to actually grow yourself and move forward, even if you doubt yourself, you struggle even finding time in the day to grow yourself, or you just flat out fear doing what you already know how to do, right? And now I know a lot of people, I attract a lot of network marketers. So if you're a network marketer and you're in here, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You fill your mind, your time with a lot of training, and you're just not moving forward, which we'll talk about. So now if you're not with network marketing, don't worry, because this is totally going to apply to anybody. And so we'll move forward. Let's go to the next slide. So my personal guarantee, all right, I'm going to make a guarantee right here, right now, a bold statement, if you will, that by the end of this short training, you will know not only why you struggle, you will also have 3 new tools to help you move forward immediately. Okay, I'm going to give you things that are going to work. Okay, this isn't some kind of teaser. This is like actual stuff that will get you working. So listen up, you're gonna love it. And I'll tell you exactly what to write down. Now, I also want you to watch every minute of this training, because at the end, you'll receive a little gift that will help you focus your passion and your energy for an entire week. All right, this is just a support system for an entire week to help you stay on track, okay? And again, this is absolutely free. So I'm giving this to you just for attending and watching. So make sure you watch every minute of it till I get to the end, and I'll tell you about that. All right, now first off, who is this training for? I know a lot of people ask that question. So if you're in here, it's because you want to break through the limiting beliefs that are holding you back, the ones that about yourself. You want to break through those. You're overloaded with a lot of information, and you're not taking enough action. You just need a kick in the pants. Right now, I can do that. That's one of the things I'm really great at, telling the truth, because ultimately that's what worked for me. You want to go to bed overnight, every night is what I meant to say. You want to go to bed every night feeling like you're on track, right? I mean, how many of you guys go to bed and you're like, oh gosh, I'm so behind. And I feel like I worked really hard, but I don't feel like I got anywhere. This is going to be for you. Or you just want to make some more money as soon as possible. That is my goal, is to help you start making some more money ASAP. Again, whether you're in network marketing or not, it doesn't matter. This applies even if you're just an employee, okay? So, anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about. All right, let's move on. So how do we get the most out of this training? First off, I'm going to ask you to be present right now. Shut off your cell phone. Turn off Facebook. Stop multitasking. Multitasking is a myth. So if you guys saw my Facebook video about that a few weeks ago, you got my point on that one, okay? I also want you to do something that's contradictory to what you typically do, and I want you to be selfish. Just for an hour, okay? You have my permission just for an hour to think about you, all right? Because that's all I'm going to focus on is you. I'm not going to focus on all the hard things you have to do, all the responsibilities you have. I'm just focusing on you and what matters to you in your heart. So we're going to get kind of deep. Of course, being selfish is not always a bad thing, okay? I also want you to be active and take notes, but don't write down everything I say. I want you to write down every idea you get, every thought or your feeling, or any kind of plan that you just kind of go, oh, I want to do this. Anything that I talk about that inspires you to do something later, write that down. That note is going to be far more valuable than just writing down what I say, because you're going to get a recording of this. So rest easy. Write down what's in your heart. I also want you to get committed to getting to know what you really want. So start asking yourself right now, what do I want? Who do I want to be? And how is this webinar going to help me get there? That's what I'm here to do. That's my job. But I want you to start getting connected to it and get ready to tell the truth, because it will set you free. And I mean that. I really mean that. It's not some kind of cliche. It's true. So let me just start here and let you know who I am, because where I come from is great context on what I teach. All right. So first off, I was raised by my mom and my dad. My dad wasn't around very much at all. There were times where he was around when I was younger, but for the most part, my dad disappeared a lot. My dad was also very smart, and he was a great reader, highly intelligent, could argue anybody on any subject, but he was also an atheist, didn't have any belief in God. And that never really influenced me. It just kind of made me look at him and go, okay, I get it. I get someone gave me great advice once. They said, take all the things that you love about your dad and all the other things Just let them go. You don't need them. It was great advice. But my mom was the biggest influence on me. She ran a business out of our home. All right, I grew up where she ran a business. It wasn't anything like network marketing, but she was around all the time. And I remember that as a kid, I was around it all the time. So to kind of give you a quick visual, or maybe just paint a picture for you in your mind, our business was on the same property as our house. And what my mom did was she took care of people who were manic depressants, schizophrenics, and just elderly people. My mom took care of them. So these people were people that I grew up with. Okay, since I was 2 years old, we lived on the same property all the way until I was about 23, 24. These were my friends, okay, among my regular friends from school and such. So these are people I knew. One thing I learned about them, and this is really great context for this training, is that they were no different than anybody else. Especially now, when they took medication, you wouldn't even know they had psychological problems. But the thing that I learned about this was that everybody is different. Everybody's got something they're working on. Everybody's got these skills and abilities, and everybody has got these things that are in the way. And ultimately, how do we overcome them? And by the way, the people that I grew up with, these were highly intelligent people, smart people who loved to talk, especially talking to a little kid who liked hearing people talk. And that was me. All right, so that's where I grew up. Now, when I grew up, though, ultimately, when I got older, I decided I wanted something different from my family dynamic. So I married a woman who was wildly different than my background, totally wildly different background. She grew up from a family that was very wealthy. Her parents were in network marketing, and they ultimately had a lot of the things that they wanted were paid for. And so what I wanted in my life and my future was I wanted to be around a person who had that kind of upbringing, because they could teach me something that I couldn't possibly know on my own. And I just happened to fall madly in love with her. And honestly, the two of us are so opposite that we really were meant for each other. And the one thing that I love about my wife, it's Angela, if you look at that bottom picture on the left-hand side, we have very, very similar senses of humor. And that's what has made us, with the kind of marriage we have, it's going to last forever. And in my mind, time and all eternity. So she was perfect for me. And then, of course, we had a lot of children. I have 7. Angela and I have 6 together. I have a daughter. You can see her on the bottom right side. She's right in the middle there. That's Jocelyn. She's like 23 now. She's a grown woman. I just love her to death. But ultimately, I wanted a big family, and these beautiful people are my reason. These are why I push myself to go on beyond what I thought I could do. I'm already 10 times the man I was before these guys showed up. And I can't wait to find out what's next. So these are my reason, not my excuse. I love them. And I'm a big family is what's important to me. All right. So I want to be around them all the time, which is why I really wanted to learn the things that I had to learn in order to be able to do that. Okay. So after I figured out some of these things, after I learned some things about how to develop yourself and how to grow and how to be able to produce and create more income, I actually created another business and friendships with some of the most respected people in our business, in our industry. This is just a couple of pictures, but the friendships that I have created is by far one of the most valuable things in my life. And I just love people. And so what I do here is my belief and my mission is to grow myself every day, is to learn by taking action, teach everything I learn, and I find a way to help anyone who wants to learn. That's it. That's my belief, and that's my mission. I'm going to do this until the day I die. This is where I am going. And I hope maybe you're interested in something like this, because ultimately teaching what I learned has been the biggest impact on my life. So the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. It's one of my favorite quotes. And I've taken this to heart for many years. I've taken it very seriously. And if I'm not finding myself, it's because I'm not losing myself in the service of others. So now let's talk about you. Enough about me. Okay, now we know the perspective that I'm coming from. Let's talk about you. I want you to close your eyes for just a second. Don't worry, you don't need to read the screen. I'll read it to you. Close your eyes for just a second, okay? And I want you to imagine yourself being the kind of person who, acts more consistently than thinks. It's a big one. I want you to imagine yourself as someone who makes plans and actually executes those plans, who gets up early and is ready to accomplish your goals every single day. Don't be afraid of goals. Goals are great. Someone who believes in yourself, even when the really hard times come along, like when the really bad times come and you get kicked in the stomach and you just shrug it off and you keep moving forward. Imagine yourself being that person if you're not already. And also someone who never hesitates when you're sharing your business with others. And your business can be network marketing, but it can also be, your job or whatever it is you're trying to teach somebody. That's your business and you're trying to share it with other people. I want you to not hesitate because it is who you are. And that was what we're meant to do. The lessons we learn are not to be kept to ourselves. So now I want you to get more detailed with this vision, okay? Get really detailed. Practice this. What's different about your life if you're this way, right? What's different with your health? Do you have more energy? Do you have more focus, more passion, more drive, whatever? What's different about your relationships with your spouse? With your husband, your wife, your kids, your family, maybe that loved one who you've become estranged with. What difference would there be? Well, how different would your spirituality be, right? How different would your connection with God be? Your morality, right? The things that you do that make you feel connected. How different would it be? And maybe more importantly, maybe not, maybe the same, how much more money is in your bank account, right? Is there a comma or two? You know what I mean? How many more zeros? And so on. It's amazing how quickly things can change financially when we change emotionally and physically and spiritually. Okay, which we're going to talk a lot about that today. So how to stop struggling and start producing, even if you doubt yourself, struggle to find the time, or just fear doing what you already know how to do. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about 3 different ways to act more and think less. That's the bottom line here. Act more, think less. So we're going to get real about what's in the way so we can start acting more. So number 1, that includes knowing what you want. That's clear, right? If you're in the dark about what you want, where are you supposed to go? So we got to get clear about it by telling the truth. We're also going to help and talk about expanding your own personal beliefs and skills, because you need them both. You need mindset and you need skill set, and you also need the last part, which is to create a plan to have it all, to have everything. And we're going to go over 4 different areas of our life that really matter most and how to have it all in all 4 categories. So let's start with it. Number 1, how to get to know what you want. You got to start getting familiar with 3 questions to get to the truth. And I want you to ask yourself this question right now. And the 3 questions are, number 1, what do you want? Number 2, why does it matter? And number 3, what happens if? Now, these are very important questions and they are very powerful in my life, and I'm going to share how they work. First off, why people don't know what they want. Oftentimes we fear making a measurable goal. Because we don't want to say, oh, I want to make blank amount of money by blank amount of time, because then that creates added pressure, and sometimes people don't want pressure, even though that's how it's really going to get there. And so we make a lot of immeasurable goals that are very general, that at any point in time we can tell ourselves we are these things. Like, I want to be happy, or I want financial freedom, or I want a strong marriage. We keep these goals very general on purpose out of fear of having to produce and do work. But imagine how different your life would be if we started loving the making measurable goals process. Like, I want to quit my job. Or I want $10,000, it says $10, I meant 10,000. I want $10,000 a month from my business, right? Or I want weekly date nights, right? So that's a measurable goal. This is just a couple of simple examples, right? Of things that you want that you have to actually, that anybody could see, that would be measurable. And if you did it, anyone could see it, and then you did it by blank amount of time, right? So I want you to love doing that and love the pressure that comes with it. That's number 1, huge on how to help you know what you want. So the second question is, why don't we know why it matters to us? Why does it matter that I get that thing, whatever that measurable goal is? Why don't I know why it matters? Because honestly, we try to avoid the emotional, because the emotional can be so painful. When the truth is, it is the emotional that is what is at the heart of everything. Nothing I've ever done that I'm most proud of, none of it was without emotion. All of it had emotion in it. So I get angry sometimes. Sometimes I get frustrated if I feel like I'm not heading in the right direction. Sometimes I get angry if I do something that doesn't work. It just, all right, because I care. And if we're not emotional about a goal, then we don't care, and which means we're not going to get it. Why are we bothering with setting that goal? So we also want to make that goal about others oftentimes. This is another thing that gets in the way. Like, I want to do this, this, and this so that my kids will have this, this, and this. And that's great and that's wonderful. I'm not saying that that's wrong. But what I am saying is that what does that do for you? Right? You want to do blankety blank blank so that your kids can have this and that. Well, why does that matter to you? We know why you think it matters to your kids, but why does it matter to you? I want to do this because I can get my husband to do this. Well, why does that matter to you? Again, we're really getting centered in on you and we're getting selfish right now. So, and oftentimes too, because we try to make our goals inspiring instead of just true, right? I want to feed children in Africa. That's awesome. I love that. We need more of that, to be honest with you. But that's not the real reason. There's something deeper, something more emotional at that matters to you, is that when you're able to do those things, then that provides an emotional feeling to you. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so get clear about why it matters. Again, get emotional. Make it about you and tell the truth. Stop the lying, just tell the truth. I get you want to feed kids in Africa, but why does that matter to you? All right, so the last part, and this is the most important part, and I'll explain how I came about this question myself, was what happens if I don't do what I need to do in order to get what I want? All right, this is powerful. I want you to really hone in on this one. This is the biggest one. Unless we're clear about what is really at stake, we will always be okay with just being inconsistent. We'll always be okay with it. We'll always start over and over and over again because we don't get clear about what's really at stake. We hide it. Let me give you an example. I had a treadmill awakening. This was years ago when I first started my own development. I've told the story a bunch of times. I just love it. So I went on the treadmill and I set a goal for a certain amount of time and a certain amount of distance. I was going to run for this amount of distance and I was going to complete it in this amount of time, which required me to have it at a certain speed. And as I'm getting on the treadmill, I'm asking myself the first two questions: what do I want and why does it matter to me? And I'm literally tying in what I want into everything in my life. Not just do I want to hit this distance in time, but I also want to make more money in our business. I also want to be a better father and a husband, and so on. And so I put this treadmill as a representation of everything I wanted to accomplish in my day and my life. And I did this first thing in the morning. And what happened was the first two questions got me pretty far. And at some point, though, it started to hurt. And I started to feel pain, and I wasn't hitting my goal yet. And I had the option. Nobody was watching. Nobody was looking. I could just take a picture, put it on Facebook, and tell everybody I did it. And I could just walk away. But something kept me on that treadmill. And that was when I came up with that third question. If I quit right now and walk away, what happens next? What happens next is simple. I will always quit when it gets hard. I will always quit when nobody else is watching. Because I knew I quit, then no matter what I do for the rest of my life, I will continue to quit when it hurts. I needed some training on how to work hard when my body hurt, when I was tired and couldn't give more. I needed that training because if I didn't continue going, if I quit just like anything else, then eventually I will lose everything I ever worked for, and I would eventually go back to work for somebody who was willing to work hard when they were tired. I'm going to take that moment just right. I want you to just take that moment and listen to that and think about that for just a second. If I quit when it hurts, I will not move forward. And ultimately, I will move backwards because nobody ever stays the same. We're either growing or we're shrinking. There's a powerful revelation. And when I asked that third question, what happens if I quit? Suddenly I looked at the treadmill and I realized, man, I'm not running as fast as I should. And I started to speed up the treadmill. I started to go a little faster. And when I hit my goal, I tried to go a little further. That's the kind of mindset I want to create for you. The kind of mindset where when things hurt and you're tired, you keep going and you go even harder and longer because you are relentless. You are clear about what you want, why it matters, and what's going to happen if you don't. Huge awakening for me. And I teach everybody this one. I love it. So again, we're always either growing or shrinking. At some point, we will either break through or we will break down. There is no in between. So what do you want? Do you want to break through or do you want to break down again? That's what we're pushing for. Get clear by taking a look at the true consequence for not growing, and you write that down right now. Write it down. This is your why, and it is not inspiring to anybody but you, and that's all it has to be, is inspiring to you, to make you want to work and do the hard stuff when you're tired. Okay, so I hope you're writing this down. Maybe some of you are even in tears right now. It's okay. I know, this was powerful for me too. So in summary, get clear about what you want, why it matters, and what happens if you now have your goal. Well, let's move on. Now, the next thing we got to do is we're going to start expanding your beliefs and your skills, because you got to know, you got to believe in yourself, and you got to have the skills to be able to accomplish what you do. My coach actually once told me, she's like, what do you get when you give motivation to a person who has no skills? An unskilled, motivated person, right? And that's not going to help anybody. We want you to have skills. So first off, let's understand what limiting beliefs are, where do they come from, and how do they affect your life, and how can you change the path? So limiting beliefs are basically the things that we say and think about ourselves that limit our ability to grow and achieve. Okay, we put our own limits on ourselves. Simple. So beliefs like I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough money, or I'm too busy, my kids and my husband won't understand, etc., etc. I don't have time. These are another one. I don't have enough time. Another limiting belief. And so what happens when we drive? Let's kind of explain this. So there's two parts to your brain. There's the conscious and the subconscious. And this is not complicated. It's really simple. The subconscious is there for all the things that you've done millions and millions and millions of times. Maybe not millions, but thousands of times. And you can do it in your sleep. Hence, that's where your subconscious resides, right? Your subconscious basically takes over while you're driving down that same road you've driven down 100 times. You got this, you know this like the back of your hands, but then all of a sudden something happens and your mind, your conscious mind suddenly latches onto some thought, something that happened or something that's going on, maybe something you're talking about. I do this all the time. But if my conscious mind gets really busy on something else, what happens? We literally drive right past our exit. We miss the turn. We forgot to change lanes before our exit or whatever. And now we have to go take the next exit. What happened was our subconscious took over, and whatever our subconscious has been trained to think and believe, that is what controlled the car. And that's where the car ended up. Okay, so this is an analogy for your mind and your brain and your body. So the origins of your beliefs, here, let me just kind of put this real quick. Your subconscious is where your current beliefs are about yourself. What you can or can't accomplish, the beliefs you have, they're buried in there, programmed from, let's talk about where they come from. So 95% of our lives, by the way, are led by our subconscious beliefs. 95%. That means only 5% of the time are we actually consciously focusing on what we're currently doing because it's something new and different. Now, the programming that we're talking about took place between the ages of 0 and 7. So up until then, we're simply video cameras that are just recording everything until we turn about 8 or 9. And when we turned 8 or 9, we created beliefs based on all the data that we collected. And then we got creative with it, right? We started assuming or establishing beliefs about ourselves. So here's the painful truth, the big number. 70% or more of the beliefs that were created before age 7 are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and ultimately created a pattern. So some of you, maybe just like me, had very rough childhoods and maybe harder than most people. And ultimately the beliefs that you took on were based on those events. And because you weren't old enough to understand that it had nothing to do with you. Between the ages of 0 and 7, you got your parents or your grandparents or your babysitters or your step parents or your kindergarten teacher, your preschool teacher, and your first grade teacher. This is a lot of people. And I'm sorry, but people just don't always know how to talk to a 0 to 7-year-old. So more often than not, we disempower them, we self-sabotage them, and we ultimately create a pattern for their whole life. Huge, right? Scary. But the good news is, let me tell you my story about when I was 2. This is actually important. And I've got some good news for you. A great example of this, when I was 2 years old, and my brother freaked out when I told him. I remember this specifically because he was like, "You're only 2. How do you remember that?" Him and my my brother and my dad were engaged in their typical fight. And the two of them were going at it. They were like two wild dogs. I don't know if you've ever seen two wild dogs attack each other. The two of them were beating each other up because my dad had gone to my mom again. And the two of them broke my little piano. And I could draw that piano. I had I'm 42 now. That was 40 years ago. But I was 2 years old and I could draw that piano. It was my little wooden piano and they smashed it. And it was traumatic for me. And I watched as I saw a clear example of what happened when men fight. And I held on to that memory and I created a belief that men are not supposed to fight. Men are not supposed to get angry or show emotion. And they're also not supposed to get aggressive with each other because people get hurt. And so what that did was it crippled my ability to be coached and taught at a very young age. I was very stubborn. I ran away from conflict. I hid. So it affected me. It affected how I acted. You can see, it's clear, it's simple, it's logical. That's what would happen. And so for me, it was powerful. And so the good news is we can make a change because all programming can be changed. It just takes a little time. People do it all the time. So here's how you do it. Think of your beliefs right now about yourself like a torpedo, right? If you think you're not good enough, then those are the coordinates you're entering in the torpedo, and your brain and body go to, basically they're like, okay, they're going to just make sure that your body is doing the things that prove that you're not good enough. And off the torpedo goes to hit its target. So what's cool about this is that you could actually enter in different calculations, totally different coordinates. Tell the torpedo, I actually am good enough. And so let me explain how that works. Basically, you use your negative beliefs to gain power. You write down at least 3 negative beliefs that hold you back right now. You write them down. You know, like, I don't know, I'm not good enough. I don't believe I can do things. I don't have enough money to do what I need to do. People don't want to follow me. I'm too skinny. I'm too fat. I'm too tall. I'm too short, blah, 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 et cetera, okay? Write down 3 of them. And what we're going to do is create a roadmap on how to reprogram the torpedo. The torpedo is our bodies and our hearts, our passions, and when we speak. If we change the coordinates, we change the way we're head. So consider these to be like a roadmap. These negative beliefs about yourself is a roadmap that are pointing to where to go next. So you write down the opposite of that belief, I'm not good enough, and say I am good enough. I can do it. I have plenty of money and people do want to follow me, right? Start thinking that right now. You have everything you need to get where you want to go. You have it all. It's all there. Like maybe even this webinar. You showed up here for a reason. So here's a great example. So you start asking yourself powerful questions to make these affirmations be even more effective and turn them into what's called afformations, which means that your brain has to be forced to look for proof on why you're good enough. So why am I good enough? You get to look through your past and question that and find evidence that proves that you are good enough. Why can I do it? You've done it before. Why do I have plenty of money? Because you're fine where you are right now. If you don't have a lot of money and you were able to last this long, what makes you think it'd be any different going forward? Why is it that people want to follow me? Why do people care? Because you are a human being who have experiences and all you need to do is share them. And there's always somebody who's going through the same thing who's waiting for you to talk about it. So be relentless in your search for those answers every single day. If you are literally, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to do anything else until I decide exactly why I'm good enough. I want you to take those answers and write them down and make them real. So then we're going to start developing some skills. Now that you got the right mindset, you can learn, you can do. Let's get committed to start developing some skills. And the first thing you got to do is whatever it is you want to do, there's something that is required to get it. So find out what is required to get what you want. You make a list, keep it small, and start developing that skill. You learn from somebody, you read blogs, you read books, hire a coach, whatever you got to do. Okay? And you learn what's required and you stick to that. The next thing is you keep your word. This is what being committed is about. Keep your word, do what you said you would do. Like imagine what your life would be like if you kept every promise you've made to yourself in the last 6 months. Right? That's a good one. The last part, act despite how you were feeling. Remember we talked about that, right? Act even though you're tired. Act even though you doubt yourself. Act even though you're afraid. You're supposed to be afraid. Okay, everyone's afraid when they're doing something they've never done before or haven't done it in a long time. But always remember what happens if. because you can always compare it to how scary the requirements are. You can do this. I promise you that no matter what it is you have to do to get what you want, it's not nearly as scary as what happens if you don't do it. As long as you're clear about it. Do the work, you'll grow. Don't, and you'll shrink. Teach every little thing you learn, because our lessons are not for us to keep. And teaching creates advanced learning. That's why I'm a lover of blogs and social media, because you get to teach. I mean, I do videos constantly, which is going to change pretty soon, by the way. I just want to point that out. We're going to get to that later on how many videos I do. So next thing we're going to do is create a plan to have it all. Last part. I love this. There's 4 areas of life that matter to me most and matter to anybody most. It's our health, our spirituality, our family and relationships, and our business. That's it, right? Our health, our spirit, our people, and our money. How do we have it all? First off, let's talk about home runs and base hits. Hopefully there's some of you guys are baseball fanatics, or at least you know how baseball works. When a batter comes up to bat, they've got 2 choices. Well, they've got 3, but the only 2 we're going to focus on is either they try to get a base hit or they try to get a home run. Home runs are harder than base hits, which is why people hit more base hits than home runs. But what if we could create a system where every base hit gets us the same result as a home run, but with less effort and less time? How awesome would that be? Simple. Look at baseball. When the first batter comes up, he hits a base hit, he gets on first. When 3 guys do that in a row, the bases are loaded. The 4th guy, all he has to do is come up and do what? Hit a simple base hit. And you get the same amount of points as a home run. And if you do that consistently, right? Consistently, every easy base hit becomes the same result as a home run. Life is exactly the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to set daily and weekly base hit goals for everything that matters. We ensure consistency by keeping it small, and we guarantee results. So think about this. How does improving my health grow my business? What if I exercise every day, even for just 10 minutes? Is that going to be, let's say I exercise every day, 6 days a week for 10 minutes. That's 60 minutes of exercise over 6 days. Do you understand what I'm saying? 6 days, 60 minutes of exercise. Is that more than you're doing right now? That's a base hit, right? Move forward. How does that help you grow your business and put money in your bank account? It gives you more focus, more energy. Let's move on. How does improving my spirituality grow my business? My morality is there. My goal is to serve people. I'm here right now to serve you, sitting here listening to this. I'm not here to hear myself talk. Okay, I put a lot of energy in these things. I'm tired after these are done. I'm typically like, boom, I put it out. I'm giving it to you. So how does my spirituality grow my business? It fuels it. It fuels my business, because my business is about having a connection, a spiritual connection to my Heavenly Father, my desire to feed my own goal in life and to support you. So spirituality plays a big part in my putting money in my bank account. How does improving my relationships with my friends and family grow my business? I'm just going to say this right now. This one thing, among others, was focusing on my marriage with my wife directly put money in my bank account. It gave me the confidence and the belief in myself to stay focused, to move forward. It's huge. And plus, my business is about relationships, right? So the harder I work with my wife and my kids, the better I become with other people. So again, spending time with my wife, taking her out on date nights, taking my kids out for special times like daddy-daughter dates and stuff like that, or even just sitting and playing Nintendo with my son, that puts money in my bank account. And I can show you how to do that. So of course, how does my improving my business grow everything else? The more money I make, the more freedom I have, the more ability I have to impact others and give me time to spend time with my kids. The business that I'm into, which is network marketing, of course, and coaching and life and business coaching, gives me time freedom. When I'm done with this webinar, it's now 12:40 p.m. Pacific, where I'm at. At 1 o'clock, I'm going to be done with this. I spend the rest of the day with my kids. So how does improving my business grow everything else? I have more time with them. I want that for everybody. Got to know how. So what's a base hit in health? Like we talked about before, maybe 10 minutes of exercise. How about a green smoothie in the morning, right? That's a simple thing. How about in our spirituality? We can start meditating, creating focus, affirmations where we start believing in ourselves, and even doing some scripture reading, small amount of scripture reading. Not reading 20 minutes a day, but how about just reading until you get a concept? Some scriptures are so good, just one sentence gets us something and you move forward. A base hit with relationships. How about phone calls to people you love that you haven't talked to in forever? Making a commitment on doing that once or twice a week. Date nights with your wife and time with your kids, of course. And with business, it's really simple. You study a skill, study a skill, apply said skill, and then teach that skill. That's it. You do that every day. Base hit. So if you don't, by the way, you want to make sure that you got a schedule down. I can show you how to do this too, where you make an entire schedule for the entire week, write it all in there. I'm telling you right now, if you don't schedule your time to do these things, then you don't want them to happen. You know what I mean? Because think about this, if you had a doctor's appointment, you put that in your schedule, right? You make sure you wouldn't miss that. So this has got to be the exact same thing. So in summary, all together, know what you want, create the beliefs and the skills, and then make a plan to have it all. That's it. A lot of great stuff. I hope you guys are feeling me. How was that? Was that awesome? Was that cool? Was that going to have an impact on you? Are these simple tools that I just gave you, is that going to give you some impact? Is that going to move you forward after today? I'm going to go back to the chat. I got more I want to tell you guys about, but I want to check the chat and see if there's any comments or questions, and then I'm going to move on to the next part real quick. Let's see. So Carrie says, powerful. Maribel says, hi, Eddie. Yes, let's break through. Awesome. I love it. All right. Anybody have any questions? I'm not seeing any questions. That's cool. If we don't have any questions, that's awesome. I'll move on to the last part. But I do want to give you guys just one moment. If you guys have any questions, I'm very thorough. I cover a lot of great information. And if you're feeling my passion, you're feeling my energy, I've got something really great that I want to tell you about. But I'll give you guys one more second before I jump back in to show you the last parts. If you have any questions or comments that you want to shoot at me, feel free to go right ahead and do that. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go right back. I know there's a bit of delay, but great stuff. Carrie says great stuff. Okay, good enough. I feel like I should wait a few seconds because there's a delay. I know there's always a delay. All right, you know what I'll do is I'll save it for the very end. When I'm very done at the end, I'll come back and I'll check if there's any questions. So shoot a question if you've got one. All right, so let's go back and finish up the last part. Just wanted to check in with you guys and see how you were doing. Okay, so how was that? Hopefully that was awesome, and I hope you guys got a lot of value out of there. I want to show you something even cooler. Now, true learning, I know, comes from doing, okay? We can sit here and learn all day, blah, 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 but if we're not doing, we're not really learning. And you and I both know that. One of the biggest fears people have when they learn something new is that they're not going to apply it. Well, I want to help that too, because ultimately I want to offer you a chance to start putting it all into action. Because I had two different choices when I was designing this training. I could just put together this great step-by-step training and then really just hope that you take action. But I know people. I know myself. And I know that sometimes it requires more. I don't want to just hope that you take action. I want to be a part of it to help guarantee that you get action, you actually get moving forward. Because the second option was to put this great training together and then create something that will give you the chance to actually make it happen for real if you're ready to make a decision and do something. That's what we're talking about here. Stop thinking and start doing. So how about, would you like to work with me personally and a group of other people that are just like you for 30 straight days and create a breakthrough? Actually create results, measurable results in just 30 days. How awesome would that be? I hope you're hungry right now because I'd love to tell you about this. What we got here is a 30-day outline. Week 1 would be goal setting and new belief mapping, and of course, training, which I'm going to talk about what kind of training in a bit. So ultimately, there would be goal setting, new belief mapping, all week 1. Week 2, setting small tasks and getting recognition for growing, moving forward, getting recognized for it so you are getting in the right direction. Week 3 is all about learning self-accountability and being able to teach other people how to do what you're doing. By the 3rd week, you're just really getting a little bit more, worked, you get a little bit tired maybe, but we're going to learn how to keep yourself accountable when nobody else is watching. And the last week, which is week 4, is to solidify long-lasting habits so that when the 30 days are up, you keep going. And guess what? There's also an accountability assignment. That means you'll get support going forward past the 30 days. You don't disappear in my book. You come into my radar and you get help from me. We stay friends for a very long time. Okay, that's how I am. So we move on. So basically how it works is every week there would be tasks. There will be anywhere from 2 to 3 short video trainings and assignments. I like short. I prefer action and less thinking, right? So short video trainings, assignments, there would be individual accountability, ensure that you're watching those videos and you're actually getting comments. And we'll make sure if you're not, how to get you on track. And then we would do 1 weekly live group call, ultimately to share your results and the challenges for additional support. How cool is that? So you'll get all the things you need, but then you'll also get an extra live call where you get to join on with everybody else. And ultimately, you get to kind of share where you're at and get some more support than what the videos provide. This is an $800 value easily. You could probably charge more than that. But you're also going to get recordings of all the trainings and the group calls. Everything, all the recordings and the trainings and all that stuff will be put together in a package, because this is going to be, you are the pilot, the testing of this program for me, because I'm going to put this entire program together and sell it in the future. And you guys get to be a part of it. This is a new program that'll get you, basically you'll get this program for free once it's completed. So as long as you're part of this group, you'll get that whole thing, the whole package, everything that I'm going to be giving out. It's a $300 value. It's approximately about that much. And you will get that without no additional charge, okay? So that'll be for you, just for taking part in the group. This is awesome. You'll also get, this is a tools bonus because nobody even knows about this yet, is 30 fully produced audio recordings from my new podcast called Dominate the Morning. And basically it's just morning support to get you focused every single day for 30 days. And so what it is, it's short 5 to 7 minute recordings where I give you a subject and another task. I am extremely good at creating content, and these are already done. You will get all of them at the beginning of the program, and ultimately you'll be able to listen to one every single morning to help you stay focused. This was there was many podcasts and many other shows that I would listen to first thing in the morning to help me stay focused, to keep me off Facebook, to be honest. That was my thing in the morning. So you'll get those, all of those absolutely free. And the next one, for those of you guys who are network marketers, you will get full access to our site for 30 straight days of all of our trainings, the absolute best network marketing trainings we have ever done that are currently making people money right now. There are people that within 30 days are coming into our website, watching just 1 or 2 short trainings and out there producing and growing and helping people. Helping people. That's what we're about, helping people. It's a huge community. You get to be a part of that, no additional charge for a full straight month. Awesome, okay? And you'll get to keep everything you learn, which is even better. So how cool is that, right? So let me ask you this. So if all that stuff, if all the things that I just offered you, if all that did was get you to start actually believing in yourself, because once you complete all this, now you have proof that you can accomplish things. Instead of beating up on yourself, would it be worth it? I mean, if this actually got measurable results in any part of your life, would it be worth it? If it created habits that kept you moving instead of stopping, would $1,000 be worth it? The combined value of all this stuff is about $1,000 to $1,500. Would it be worth it? Let's be honest, most of the things that we're talking about are priceless. But I'm sure by now you can see why other people have invested thousands of dollars to receive my coachings, my accountability necessary to see massive improvement in all areas of their lives, a complete shift in focus and start working. Change the programming. And I'm telling you right now, that change can be permanent. I am proof of that. Because 3 years ago, I hated myself. And I put my life and my marriage and my relationship with my kids and our business in complete jeopardy because I hated myself. The programming can be completely reversed, and I can show you how. So again, here's what you get, 5 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna give you an additional week. because we want to make sure that everything really goes smoothly and gets done. So 5 weeks with me and a group of others just like you, recordings and the completed program with no additional charge, 30 days of fully produced audios to help you stay focused, accountability, and training from our website. All of that stuff, total value about $1,000. But the cool news is you're not paying $1,000, of course. That's crazy. I'm not going to charge you that because I want you to do this. I want you to actually be able to do this. So I'm actually making this program available in the future for $375. That's what I'm going to charge for this whole program once it's all done and ready to go. And we've got all kinds of workbooks and all kinds of stuff that go with it. But for you, if you decide to jump in, I'll give it to you right now. It's just $297. You decide now while you're watching this, and I'll let you in for that amount. There's a link right here at the bottom. It's a bit.ly link. It says Group 30. Just type in that exact link. Get it right now for $297. Once you get in there, you're locked in. The first thing I do is I'll send you a profile form you'll have to fill out, and you'll answer those 3 questions that we went over earlier. And then you and I will sit down and go through them all. How awesome is that? So $297. There is the link right there. That's it. You're in if you decide to get in there quick. Now, here's a couple things I want to answer some questions that most people have. When do we start? This program begins in the first week of March 2017. So it's coming up, just a couple of weeks. So how big is the group? I'm not doing more than 10. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys really get the benefit of this. So you got to act now. We got quite a bit of people watching this video. So how will I know if there's space available? As long as you go to that link and that sign up page there works and there is space available, but you got to hurry. Okay, by the way, use the other link, this link right here, which I'll kind of go through again. The bit.ly link, make sure you use all lowercase. It actually works that way. So as long as you're of the first, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to offer this price to the first 5 people who do it right now. $297, jump on right now. Just go right to that link, jump on, pay the $297, get in, and we will start first week of March. You're in. So guys, I'm going to go back to the chat room in here just a second. So make sure you have any questions, you go ahead and post them in that chat room. And I just want to say thank you guys very much for attending. Everybody who watched this training will get a free gift in your email. I'll send you something really nice just to say thank you for coming out and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. You know, if you're not ready to take your life to the next level and jump in the group, that's totally cool. I get it. But I hope that you will be sometime soon. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. Who knows? But for me right now, I'm really focused on getting this group of 10 together and making an impact right now. So again, it's $297. Jump in right now. Be the first 5 to get it so you can, you know, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You're in. Again, here's the link. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll post it in the chat room. Let's go to the chat room real quick. And let me go ahead and say hi to a few of you guys and just make sure that we're all good. Let's see. Give me just a moment while I type in the link. bit.ly/group 30. There's the link. I just put it in the, I'm not sure if you guys, that'll work. So I'm gonna try it again, maybe with the www. /group 30. There you go. That's probably better. Okay, so I just posted in the chat room. Remember, we're going to start March 2017. There's a few people that are going to be watching this on the training. I've got a couple hundred people who have registered. So some people are going to watch this on the recording. I want you to know if you're watching this on the recording, if you click on that link and there's that price is still available, then pay the price right then and there so you're in at that price. You'll be guaranteed. That's how you know if it's still available. And once March comes around and we get started, that link will no longer work. It won't. It'll actually send you to a different website altogether. So if you guys have any questions, I'm gonna. I know there's a bit of delay here, so I'm gonna leave you guys just 1 extra minute. I promised I would wrap up in less than an hour, and I've got 5 minutes left. So just so that I keep my promise of being done in just 1 hour. Awesome. So by the way, everybody that was here, you'll get a recording. You'll be able to go back and watch some of this stuff. And I hope this helped you out. I appreciate this, guys. I love talking about this subject, and I love having an impact on people. I want you to know that whether you're in network marketing or not, it doesn't matter. This is going to have an impact. You will move forward after this. I'm that good at what I do because I've had a lot of practice, and that's really the deal. So I want to give you guys the practice you need. All right, so it looks like I'm not seeing any comments in the chats. Maybe everybody's off signing up. I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. And because I can't tell from my end here whether or not how many people are jumping in. In fact, I'm going to go check it out now. I hope you guys have a great day, and feel free to message me on Facebook. No matter what, feel free to message me on Facebook, and just if you're not already friends with me on Facebook, we should be now that you've watched this. And let's connect. So take care. Have a wonderful day. Once again, thank you guys for joining me, and I hope to see you guys in March. Talk to you later. Bye.